Welcome into the session. So the topic today is confronting your fears and surpassing your limits. So what we will do is we'll we'll get a little bit into understanding fear and its neurology, and also give a meaning of what does it mean surpass your limit. Okay, so you kind of say, well, if I overcome my fears, where am I going to and how it helps me? And then, of course, as always, we give you a pathway, which is how can you cope with fears and to go beyond. And then we will practice it. We will take one situation in your life where you are dealing with fear and that is not helping you stay within yourself and use it as a way to move forward. Okay, and go through a meditation and through actually an IFS session, and then we'll get into tuning forks to release whatever comes up. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So let's get into the understanding of fear. Now, fear is something that we experience when we feel threatened. Fear can be very uncomfortable and often paralyzing, but eliminating it completely from your life would also be leaving doors and windows open. So fear is not all that bad. It's just that certain types of fears actually hold you back. And so you can have fear in your body as a response when your body feels threatened, and the goal of that fear is actually to defend you, okay, to make sure that you stay alive physiologically. Uh, there is a fear in the mind. This is embedded into subconscious mind, and is what is doing is basically triggering thoughts, and then of course an emotion linked to the thought, and actions or reactions that are frequently that are very frequent, they are intense, and sometimes long lasting. And then of course there's a fear in our behavior. When we face something threatening, we often try to respond adaptively, as all the ways we behave in front of fear has one objective, is keep you safe. So whenever you are in a very threatening environment, the fear actually helps you to stay safe. So most of the time, and a fear is coming to keep you safe. That's the prime objective of fear, any kind of fear. However, it becomes liberating because it then gets into your neurology. Now, what is a neurology of fear? So you know that we have five senses, and they all pass through amygdala, which is basically in the center of your brain, right at the top. And this is a very tiny structure of the limbic system, our neurology. And amygdala monitors everything that happens within and around us. So it looks at uh, all the all that comes through the senses, and it it monitors it and looks for patterns. And when it finds patterns that it's already aware of from its memory, then it will do one of the three things. Either it will fight or flight or freeze, because it it detects that there's a possible threat. It activates a bunch of neural pathways that kind of create our fight or flight system, and and so it can either fight, so confront, flight, run away, or freeze, which happens a lot, where basically you kind of go into a state where as if you feel nothing, okay, numbed out. Now, what's happening inside us is there is, of course, raising of blood pressure, which speeds up our metabolism, increases the amount of sugar into blood that makes blood clotting easy. I mean, increases the mental activity, so it gives all that energy into the brain. Okay, then which then triggers adrenaline, which then sends direct to the muscles, the large muscles like legs and arms, so that they have enough energy to fight or to run. Also, adrenaline goes through the body and causing the immune system to shut down or slow down dramatically. So it uses very little energy, and all energy gets diverted into either fight or flight. Now, pathological fear is one of the most exhausting things for human that we can experience. And it's a huge part of what we then generalize as what we call anxiety disorders, phobias, panic attacks, and even OCD. And it comes in different shades and completely removes the person from its control. So as if something has taken over from deep inside and it runs the show. Okay, this is what happens to people. And and it comes from life experiences. It comes from traumas. It comes from cultural biases. It comes from parental biases. So it's the programming that is done from the time of conception throughout the early childhood, which is when the most of the programming gets done up to age of 7. And then, of course, life experience still continues to program basically the amygdala to look at patterns and react from those patterns. So we basically run like an automatic program without any control. So that's what fear does. Now, let's talk about surpassing your limits because that's what we want to do. Okay. And now, so to surpass yourself, whether it is in sports or in life, basically is to go beyond limits. Now, where are the limits? Limits are defined by setting goals, by setting objectives, and then we go beyond them. And to go beyond requires courage, sacrifice, and a lot of effort. And this is available to everyone. However, several things can block us to achieve them. Okay, which is why many of us come into this work is because we wanted something and we are not able to go. We get stuck because we have blocks. Okay, and but most of the blocks are actually physiological and non-physical blocks. Most of them. Of course, there could be physiological blocks, but most of them are not. And fear is one of the main factors that trigger blockages. And when we win over fears, we actually start to surpass our limits. And the objective, of course, is to become your self-master. And self means you, the soul that came with all its faculties and everything and knew why it's here. And you become the master of self. Because when your system runs you or your fears and other things run you, then you don't feel master of it. That's why when we say I do not master my life, I don't have control of it. So but this is what we are here to do, okay, to become your self-master. And so that you can have access to all the things you want, what you put into your goals and go beyond. You'll find that there is no real limit, that nothing is impossible. And you can see it from people that have been highly successful. They all went through difficulty and traumas and challenges. But one thing you find with them is that they believe that there is nothing called limits. So nothing is impossible. What you want, when you want, you can. That's the slogan to remember. What you want, when you want, you can. So let's get into the pathway. Okay, and the pathway is kind of in my world a little bit simple, but it of course requires a lot of work. And I'm not saying that is easy. It's easier said than done. That's why I say give it time, give it effort. Now, the first thing is know thy fears. This is very important. What I will working with. and prioritize the one you want to deal first. So of course we may have many fears, but what is the first one and the second one and the third one you want to deal with them? Now, second thing to do is to build connection to self, which is build connection to the fears and to the part that holds those fears, because fears are held in part of you. So when you connect to it, you can get access to it and get to know them. What are they? Where do they come from? When did it start? What was going on at that time, etc., etc. Do they come from legacy burdens? Do they come from time of when you were a little baby? Do they come when you were a child, etc.? So where do they come from? And then heal them wherever they come from. And and then start to create your goals, or what I call ideal self, vision of ideal self. Because then you go into a recursive loop where you start with a fear, overcome it, find your define your vision for yourself, and then you confront another fear, and then you go back, work on the fear, and keep working through fears, and create keep creating a larger or bigger vision of yourself as you work through fear, because fear limits you. And so that becomes a kind of recursive loop, and this is key. Now, what we are going to do, and I'm going to ask you to use this slide as a way to understand your fear, but it's not just here, because it could be others, but these are the ones. When I did my research, this is what I found, and I've seen that a lot in my work as well, is what are the fears that hold you back from surpassing your limits. And as I'm going through them, keep resonating to yourself which of them is making meaning to you today in this session, because you're here to do something for yourself. Okay. So the first one is any change in life. So if there is a change going on and you have a fear of change, of course, what it does is it causes you to miss out any good opportunities that can come your way. Because if you are afraid of change, then you do not see the other side. And because you cannot see the other side, you limit yourself and you stay here. So, and change is life. Change creates opportunity. But if you're afraid of change, then you miss the opportunity. Loneliness, uh, being alone or feeling lonely. And this can, of course, cause you to distract yourself, find other addictions, other ways by which you can feel less lonely, but then you actually start to miss out on making face-to-face connections with the real world. A fear of failure. Uh, this might avoid you for anything where success isn't guaranteed. So if there is something which seems like, well, there is a chance that something can go wrong, but you're afraid of failure, then you will not take a chance unless success is guaranteed. Ultimately, you may miss out on all the life lessons that you learn when you fail. I mean, if you look at any successful person, any entrepreneur, I mean, anybody, one of the things they say, and they ask you questions if you want to get hired, first question they ask you, how many times have you failed? And if you say zero, they will not take you because they say you have not learned life lessons, because failure makes you learn. So are you afraid of failure? Afraid of rejection. Now this can actually could make you completely stuck. Okay. I'm afraid I will be rejected. So if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a date, if you're looking for any new thing, this actually can create. Yeah. And thank you, Corinne. You added something interesting, fear of success, which then creates an aspect of will I get it or not? Interesting. Uncertainty, staying the same as the one that sure. I mean, it's like I I'm I'm afraid of uncertainty, so I stay here because this one I know. Then I don't know where I'm going. So one of the thing when people say, I mean, look at the universe, you have lots of possibilities. But if somebody is afraid of uncertainty, it doesn't take a step forward. And so it stays stuck, stagnant. Fear of something bad could happen. Now, this comes a lot from past experiences. It can come from legacies where something bad did happen, but then you just do not move forward. You just stay where you are because you are so afraid that something bad would happen. Normally, this comes from a lot of legacies or past experiences. Getting hurt. Now, this is especially if you're been into any kind of either workplace or romantic relationship, you may have got hurt and you have emotional wounds. So actually what you do is you stay stuck because you're afraid that you may get hurt again. And this is one of the prime reasons many people that have had difficult breakouts or losses, okay, are unable to get into new relationship or uh, uh, trauma from workplace. They're difficult to go back to work. So burnout is one of the prime reason is this one. Being judged, so can prevent you from being your true self, which means you hide, you stay under the radar, you underperform, and you because you're afraid to be judged. Inadequacy, you may become either an underachiever or you become perfectionist. So you can be as an effort to prove yourself. So that comes from inadequacy, which is we call a lot. I'm not good enough. So this creates the fear of not being good enough. Loss of freedom. It is actually a self-fulfilling prophecy because if you're afraid of loss of freedom, then you basically stay there because you're afraid of loss of freedom. So you kind of stay into that endless loop of being there. So think about yourselves, think about your life, think about where you are now, and make a choice of what one fear you would like to work today for yourself. It can be this, or if something else comes up, that's okay as well, as long as you know there's a fear in you. It can be in this list or it could be beyond. If you realize you have all of them, then you can work the one that today feels the most important for you. So you pick one. And then you can repeat this loop and you run what we are going to do. You can run it endlessly. Okay, so you've got one. Now let's do the work. So I want you to become comfortable. Go to a place where you feel comfortable. Sit. You can sit very comfortable in your body, in your place. You can lie down. You can sit straight as long as you can hear me well. Just be in a comfortable place. And see if you can run like a scan. Start from your feet and you're looking for any sensation in your body. You can start from your feet, go into your knees, Go into your thighs, into your hips, into your belly area, into your chest area, into your shoulders, into your arms and fingers, into your neck and your head. And notice and scan for any sensation you feel now. And while you're doing that, just focus on your breathing, going in and out. You don't have to change it, just notice how the breath is coming in and leaving. And I want you to invite all of you to be here, all parts of you, all personalities inside of you, to be here, to be present, and just stay in your mind in a place of curiosity, that I'm going to be curious about what I discover, what I understand. Sometime I may get overwhelmed, but I will always go back to being curious because I'm connecting to my inner self to have a better understanding. So I invite them all. Continue to focus on your breathing and rescan your body for any sensation. Now imagine you're floating 500 feet into the air, and imagine there's a white light which is coming down from the heavens, entering into your head, and going into your head, filling it up into your shoulders and arms, filling it up into your chest area, filling it up into your belly, filling it up, and then going into through your legs, into your feet, and through your feet the light is going deep into Mother Earth and picking up all the energy, all the power, and coming back into your feet, and through your feet this light with the energy of Earth is filling up your legs, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your belly area, your chest area, your shoulders, your arms, your fingers, into your neck, and filling up your head. Now you're filled with this beautiful, powerful white light. I want you to think about this one fear you want to work today, the one you decided before, and bring it into your awareness. Just think about that and stay with it for a moment. Now, as you think about it and you brought it in, notice where you feel it in or around your body. Any sensation as you think about it. Sensation in your body or around your body. Just notice where you see that sensation as you think about that fear. Now pay attention to this area where you feel sensation and just notice, how do you feel towards it? What kind of feeling do you have as you connect to that sensation? You may feel angry, or you may feel afraid, you may feel dejected, disappointed, or maybe curious, or even compassionate. Notice how you're feeling as you connect to this sensation in or around your body. And stay with that sensation. Now see if you can get to a place of curiosity. If you want to know more from that place about itself, then being curious helps it to reveal what it holds. So see if you can become curious about it. Just curious about what could it be holding. And if you are hearing in your head, well, I cannot get curious about it, I'm so angry about it, just ask to this rational or judgmental part of it, you, to just be quiet and let you work with that part, to back down a bit and help you understand better. So see if you can get to that place of being curious. And notice how that sensation is changing as you became curious. Is it becoming stronger, lighter, moving? Maybe telling you something? And so you can ask a question saying, tell me about yourself, and listen to what it wants to tell you about itself. Stay curious. Now, from what you heard, see if you can continue to stay curious. You may also feel compassionate towards it. See if you can be a bit compassionate. And notice how it changes sensation. Now ask it another question. Ask it, what kind of impact do you try to have on my life? And hear what it wants you to know. Stay curious, stay compassionate if you can. What impact do you try to have on my life? And see if you could make meaning of what it wanted you to know. And notice how you feel towards it now. Now ask it, tell me more about your fears. What are you afraid would happen to me? The answers you're getting, you can write them down if you want to, or you just can remember them. So ask it, if that's the fear you have, tell me what will happen then. And so what? What happens then as a consequence? And then ask, what are you really afraid would happen to me? Now, as you hear that, see what meaning you make from it, and notice how you feel towards this sensation, this part of you in which you are now in conversation with. How do you feel towards it? And now ask it, since when are you doing this for me? Since when are you afraid of this happening? When did it all start? I'll tell you an age. Notice that age, and then you can ask a question. What was going on then that made you appear? Listen intently to what it tells you. Stay curious, stay compassionate. And if you have to let it know what you feel about that, how you feel now, you can do that. And now ask it, what needs to happen for you to be less present? What needs to happen for you to be less present or maybe not be there? So take note of what it tells you, because it kind of told you things that should happen for it to be relaxed and to be less present. Acknowledge and thank it. And you can ask a question. Is there anything else you want to let me know about yourself? And do check if anybody else, any other part, is coming up and talking to you now. Can be intervening to make a recommendation, or it can be intervening to object to what you just did or heard. See if there is any other part that wants to come up and talk to you now. Some voice that you hear. And if you do hear, pay attention to it and ask what do you want me to know, and listen to it. And as you hear it out, notice where in your body you have the sensation. It can be in a different place. It can be inside or outside the body. Just notice where you have a sensation. And just connect to it. And notice, how do you feel towards this new voice that just came up. And see if you can go to the place of being curious again. Just be curious. I'm curious what you are going to tell me about yourself. And notice how the sensation changes. And ask it, what do you want me to know about you? I'm curious. And see what it tells you. Hear it. And as you hear that, notice how you feel towards it now. And then ask it another question, saying, what are you afraid of? Let it explain its fears. And then ask, and then what happens? What is the real fear that you have? As you heard the fear, you understand that this is what it is protecting you from. So see if you can be, apart from being curious, a bit compassionate towards it, And then ask a question, what needs to happen for you to relax and be more in the present moment? I told you some actions for you to do, so just thank it for letting you know. And just thank all your system for being here, for being present, and let them know that you will keep in touch with them, because you can invite them just by talking to them and share with them a vision for yourself. What do you want for you? And now thank them all and start to come back and slowly come back to the present moment. Open your eyes. And if you want to write down something, take a moment to write down. And I will prepare for a short tuning fork session. Okay, so here we go. So in this session, what we're going to do is, it will be a shorter one. We're just going to open the two parts, the part on top of your head and below your feet. So I'll actually start with below your feet. The thing to remember is breathing. So you will hear me breathe in a certain way. So you will hear breathe like, take a breath through your nose, deep inside, fill up your belly, and then breathe out from your mouth. So deep breath. So when you hear, you follow that. Here we go. So I'm going to start below your feet and open the center below your feet so that you have a connection to Mother Earth, and we open the channel through all the different centers of your body. So I'm just below your feet, pointing the tuning fork through into your backbone so that open the channel top of your head. So take a breath. So pushing it through the backbone, moving it up. For the moment it seems to be stuck in the sacral. There's a lot of movement in the second center, just above the navel. So take a breath. And you can even send energy with your breath to the place where you feel the stress. easing out, but still there. Much more on the left side. So frustrations. Take a breath. So it's gone to the back now, just behind the sacral. So if anything is coming up, like frustration, disappointments, I bring them up and let them get released. Still pushing. I'm going to change to the other fork. Okay, so we'll take a breath like okay, head opened. If you have to shout, you do. Okay, it opened. I'm going to ground you. Not yet. There we go. Now cleared. Okay, so we work on top of the head. So we are now at the top of the head, pointing tuning fork into the head, so it goes through the backbone down through the legs into Mother Earth. So that flow. Okay, so I'm going to work on the sacral because it's what is asking on the left side. So I'm just above your navel on the left side. And it's all about frustration and disappointments. I'm starting from your birth, going in. Okay, 2-year-old, very young. Anything that comes up, bring it into your awareness about what could have happened. Normally you're too young, so you may not remember anything. Let's see if something comes up. Yeah. So connect to that. Whatever sensations comes in, feelings that come in, and breathe. So that got cleared. Says 16. Whatever comes up, release. Now suddenly something went into the heart. If you feel pain or sensation into your heart, just release it. Breathe into it. Yeah, 24. Like a sharp pain. Okay, so connect to your mother and anything which came as a disappointment or frustration. Just connect there. Send love to her. Okay, so we're going to release whatever we have collected. I'm just going to now close the process, allowing the body to continue to process whatever changes has happened for the next 48 hours. And to put you in cocoon. Stay relaxed for a few minutes and be open for Q&A.